Time is on your side. It might not seem like it at first, but it definitely is always 100% of the time. It took me so long to realize this as an individual and as an artist as well. I remember, we just gonna get real personal straight out the gate. I remember being 14, around 14, my freshman year of high school. Man, I just moved from a different city and it was a whole new environment for me. I didn't know anybody at all. Being in a new environment, not knowing anyone, especially being in a school that has a huge population compared to the other schools I've been to, it was nerve-wracking. And then over time, I developed anxiety, text anxiety, just classroom anxiety, if there's such a thing. It definitely hindered my growth a lot as an individual, as a student, just finding who I am, my identity. I will always be stuck in the future and never the present. I didn't even know what the present moment looked like at that point. I was just too worried about the next day, and looking forward to the weekend where I don't have to go to school. Anxiety is not fun at all, trust me. It's not. I don't currently really have it as severe today. I feel like everyone has some sort of level of anxiety, but not to a point where it really changes your life. And I don't have that anymore, thank God. I remember waking up every morning just wanting to not go to school, just want to get rid of my anxiety forever. And what I did was I decided, you know what? I'm going to figure this out. I started to read books, like mindset books, listen to motivational speakers like Les Brown or Tony Robbins. So every morning when I wake up for school, I would get dressed, turn on YouTube and listen to Les Brown mainly, and then, other motivational speakers like E.T., also known as Eric Thomas. And that would really help me get my mind prepared and get myself prepared just to go to class, go to school, and deal with the anxiety that I did have. Once I got over that hurdle, I, went to college, undergrad, and then I started to get into content creation. It was fun. It was something very exciting, something very new. But unfortunately, I did not manage my time well at all. Big things will happen, big events, amazing opportunities, but I didn't really take it that seriously. I didn't put in the extra work that I felt like I needed to put in. That's not good at all, and that's not good for you either. When you think about time, you think about everything you have to do in the future, whether if it's 2 minutes from now, an hour, a day, a week, a month from now, a year from now. We're always constantly thinking about the future because of the society we live in. Unfortunately, we are always on the go. We never really have time just to sit in nature, close our eyes, listen to the leaves, listen to the different animals. We're always bombarded by our phones, social media, the internet, the TV, media, news, whatever it is. There's always something going on. And it also can be your family, your friends, just things happening, just information. And that causes you to lose track of time. I remember scrolling on TikTok for hours and it really felt like 2 minutes. And I'm telling you, if the government decided not to ban TikTok, my posture would be like this. From I would say 10 years, a decade from now, my posture would be like this because I was constantly looking at my phone and just scrolling on TikTok. There's a lot of useful information on TikTok, a lot of knowledge, depending on what your feed is looking like, obviously. There's all that good stuff. It's just that how do you decide to spend your time? There's nothing wrong with scrolling on social media. I think if you scroll on it for days on end, every single day, it kills your dopamine levels like crazy. So things that you will feel the dopamine of, you become desensitized to it, which is not a good thing at all. My point is that time works for you, never against you. The reason why it works for you is because everyone has the same amount of time in the day. Everyone has 24 hours, whether you work during those 24 hours, you take care of your kids during those 24 hours, or you even draw within those 24 hours. We all have 24 hours. And I understand we all have obligations. We have things we have to do for our families, for ourselves, and to keep ourselves in a better position, whether if it's shelter, food, whatever it is, protection, safety. We all have to do certain things. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't spend their free time on working on yourself productively and not sacrificing those times just to de-stress and watch TV, get on your phone, whatever it may be. It's about doing one step at a time, just one step. Every day, do something productive, read something, educate yourself every single day. By the end of the month, you're gonna feel like a totally different person. It used to be annoying to me when I would go on social media or watch TV and I see people around my age being very successful in my field, knowing that I have more talent or whatever it may be. And it's like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel annoyed about this other person and their success? Why am I not focused solely on my success and what I need to do? And that's because of distractions. Everyone has their own journey. Like I said in my last video, you never know what someone is going through ever. So never judge and focus on you. You have to be selfish in this world. When I say this, I notice that some people, they're like, well, you can't be selfish, being selfish is bad. No, it's not bad. There's different levels to when it comes to being selfish. You can be selfish in a healthy way. You should always put your health first, yourself first, and your mental state first. That doesn't mean you have to knock someone else down or you have to belittle anyone else. You just have to put yourself first because that's all you have in this world. So why don't you put yourself first and manage your time the best way you can manage it? A lot of people, including me, need schedules. I need schedule. I used to just wake up, have stuff in my head. This is what I'm going to do today. And then I really never finish everything. But once I start creating schedules and things for myself, I'm able to actually get those things done in time. No matter how you plan out your day, you need to focus on you. You need to have time for yourself. If you have a new business, if you want to learn something new like trading, take time out of your day, whether it's 10 minutes, an hour, take time of your day and learn one thing at a time. Trust me, your life is going to change. Have you noticed that we put so much time to other people? I remember getting so many different commissions and people wanting me to do them favors like, oh, can you, do my album cover? Can you create this profile pic for me? Can you edit it or whatever it is? And I put so much time and energy into that. And I love doing it because I felt like I was serving other people. But when it came to myself, when it was time to serve myself, I just was lacking. I procrastinated a lot. I didn't really take myself serious. I didn't take my craft too serious now that I look back on it. And if you don't put more or the same amount of time you put into yourself than other people, then that's an issue. That's something I really had to learn. And I really had to be honest with myself. You can't really help other people until you help yourself. Yes, you can do things for some people, even if you're in a bad state or you're not in the best position. But I mean, truly help someone and be in the mindset or the headspace where you can give them sound advice or actually give them something that they can actually walk away from instead of giving them advice in a certain state that you're in. The best thing you can do for yourself is to become successful in whatever you want to do and then help other people get to where they want to be, or just give them advice or knowledge that they might have. Like for me, I know a bunch of people are probably not going to watch this video, but it's still me giving advice and giving what I have in my head to other people who might need it. I don't care if it's one person or two people or three people. You might listen to this and you might really walk away with something, which I hope you do. And as someone who's experienced a lot in life, I'm super observant. I think that's just the artist in me. And I noticed so many different lives, so many different types of people, many ways people cope with things, many ways people create excuses for themselves. And I was one of those people. Like all these things I'm naming, I've probably done before. And you have to do a lot of shadow work, recognize the flaws or many things that you do to yourself to hinder your growth, to set you back, and you have to acknowledge those things. Self-reflection is really healing, and time will help you heal that. Living in the present moment is super hard, but I do have a way you can actually live in the present moment or help you live in the present moment even more. One day I was watching this motivational speaker on YouTube when I was in high school, and I'll never forget this. They said that if you're stuck being in the future or the past and you want to be in the present, observe the things around you. Wherever you are right now, if you're inside, outside, wherever, look around you, observe things and point it out in your head. So right now, I'm looking at a sidewalk. I'm saying that's a sidewalk in my head. I'm looking at a lamp, saying that's a lamp in my head. I'm looking at my camera, saying that's a camera in my head. And do this repeatedly, and hopefully this will help you remember or remind your brain that you're in a present moment right now. The future is not real. It's crazy to think about. It's so crazy. You're probably like, what the heck are you talking about? The future's not real. Of course it's real. No, it's not real until it happens. A minute from now, my existence is not going to be real until it happens. Yes, you probably know that there's a guarantee that something might happen. You have reservations at a place for 6 o'clock, and you know that an hour from now it's going to be 6 o'clock. You have those reservations and you're going to be there, but you never know what can happen. Even if nothing does happen, the future isn't real until it actually happens. Our brain likes to protect us in different ways. It likes to sense out danger and recognize the danger. That's why we have our flight and fight response. We either fight it or we flight and run away from the situation. And that's human nature. It's natural. Reminding your brain, reminding yourself that you're okay is super important. You have to love yourself, fall in love with yourself. And if anything embarrassing happens, if anything happens that you did and you just didn't like that you did it, give yourself grace, We all go through the same exact thing when it comes to like our emotions. No matter how embarrassed or what caused you to be embarrassed, someone has felt embarrassment before and you're not alone. Everyone has. It's just a part of nature. It's a part of who we are. And speaking of nature, this stuff is not natural. Like, we were born in a box. Most of us, I'm sure. We live in a box. We go to school in a box. We work in a box. We die in a box, This is not natural. I feel like we're all supposed to really be in nature, and we have to adapt to this way of living that our body hasn't like fully adapted to, I feel like. But since we are in this situation, we are in this type of society, we have to remind ourselves that at the end of the day, nothing is truly that serious. We only have one life as of right now, so you have to live your life. I don't care if you're stressed out at work or your family life or whatever it is. Everything is not forever. And it's not the bigger picture. This is why I love hiking and being in nature, because once you surround yourself with something way bigger than you start to see the bigger picture for yourself and not just trying to imagine the bigger picture. And I know time does exist, but honestly, it really feels like it doesn't exist, What reminds us of time are clocks. Imagine a world where we didn't have clocks and we only had the solar system and the sun. That's how we will be able to tell time. But since we do have all these things, it's like we're always constantly checking the clock, where we need to be, what we need to do, how much time I have left, what time do I go to bed, what time do I need to wake up. It's really exhausting, and that's why meditating and being in nature and taking care of yourself is super important. As an artist, when I put so much time into drawing and practicing, it didn't feel like I was using any time, honestly, or wasting any time, because I didn't feel like it was a waste. I just felt like it's something I love to do, so I'm doing it. And then next thing you know, I spent like 4 hours drawing. And time is actually relative in a way. Depending on what you're doing or what you love doing, if you spend that time doing it, you might look up and say, wow, it felt like I was barely doing it, It felt like time has not passed at all. But that's because you enjoy what you do. That's exactly why the happiest people are people who actually love what they're doing. I love making videos. I love drawing. I love sharing my thoughts with all of you guys. I love showing tutorials on how to draw, whatever it may be. I just love doing that. I love creating. And that's my safe space. That's my creative space where I just have so much passion for. You have to figure out what you love doing the most. And it doesn't have to be one thing. It could be multiple things. I have multiple interests as well. Find things you love doing. If you're in a stressful environment for most of your day, whether you work or not, you should find things, try things out, find what you love, and focus on that after work when you have free time. And there might be a way to monetize it. There really might be a way. And if there is a way, you can live your life that way. Nothing lasts forever. So use your job or whatever you do as a resource to fund what you really want to do in life. And you know, the time is going to pass anyway. That's what I like to think about when I feel like I'm so far behind or something's going to take so much time. I like to think that regardless of what I decide to do within that amount of time, whether it's a year or 5 years, no matter what I decide to do within that time range, it's going to pass regardless. I like to remind myself this when I'm creating content for YouTube or my other social media platforms. Yeah, it feels like I'm growing very slowly and I'm really not making that much progress. But the more time, the more consistent you stay, the more growth you're going to see over that set time. Everyone that is successful, they've started somewhere and they put in so much time without knowing the actual outcome. And that's just what you have to do. You have to take those risks. And it is a big risk. If you don't know how it's going to turn out, but you're putting so much time into it, it's like, dang, I just don't want to waste this time. No matter if you feel like you succeeded or not, you're going to walk away with something you learned, something that you gained, something that's always going to stay with you forever. Time is scary. Time is scary because we have a limited amount of time, but we also have an unlimited amount of time. People live their lives in a way where their whole life feels like their time was moving so fast. And there are other people who spend every minute with intention, and in their life, it's just so filled with unlimited amounts of time. They stay in the present. They spend time with friends, family. They have love around them. And it feels like to them like, wow, my whole life just feels like a beautiful, beautiful movie. And I remember all those days, all the time I spent with my family, my friends, my loved ones, versus someone else who might be stressed at work their whole life. And they work a 9 to 5. And once they turn 60, 70, when it's time for them to retire, they're just like, wow, time moves so fast. I don't know where it all went. I didn't really get to enjoy it. I didn't do the things I really loved. Remember that you have to do things that you love every single day, no matter what your situation is. Find a way, find some time to enjoy what you love. Before you know it, you're going to be 10 years older than what you are now. And that's also why I say health is super important. And if you know anything about me, I'm big on health. I'm big on taking care of yourself, because you have some people who are in the 30s, they feel like they're in their 60s. And then you have some people who are in their 50s who feel like they're in their 20s, right? Because they took care of themselves, they took care of their bodies, they work out, they eat clean. That's how they live their life. So make sure you live your life right. I don't want you to regret anything in your life. I don't want you to feel like you wasted time in your life. Be intentional about how you spend your time. No one cares about what you do. No one's going to just sit there and coach you on how you should spend your time. As an adult, that's something I had to realize, is that no one's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. So however you spend your time, and don't do what just other people are doing, because people love conformity, and that's just how our society is. Do something that will actually benefit you. That's why I love TikTok, and I just love certain social media apps, especially YouTube, because the ideas and mindset on those platforms is very open-minded. It's educational, it's knowledge-based, meaning that you learn things and you break generational curses, you break habits just by listening to someone and deciding to act on a way or in a way that's best for you. No one's perfect. If you've ever been on TikTok, or you're on YouTube now, so if you've ever been on TikTok or YouTube, you know that there's people out there who have similar life experiences to you. No, it might have not been the same exact situation, but the experience and how you were able to overcome that experience is very similar to your story as well. Time is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Don't waste it. Don't waste chasing something. There's nothing wrong wanting anything, but don't idolize it. There's nothing wrong with having a vision board, planning your life out. But that's not how everything's going to turn out all the time. Every single piece you think of might not be exactly how you envision it. It might be better. So work with what you have now, and later on, you might be experiencing a life that way better than you ever can imagine. Who knows what's going to happen in the future for you? You never know. As long as you're taking the right steps and making those small steps at a time, you'll be very surprised on what's to come for you. This drawing is taking a really long time, pun intended. If I could stress anything in this video, is that time is always on your side. It just depends on how you use your time and how you see time as well. I get asked a question all the time: what to draw so good? Like, what did you do? The answer is always, I put in a lot of time, meaning I practice a lot. After school, many of my friends, they would play video games or go to the park or whatnot, which I would go to the park every now and then, but most of the time after school, I drew. I know people live their high school life on social media or spend their free time on social media. Me, no, I love drawing. That's just what I did. I did it so many times. The more consistent I was at it, the better I got. Just like anything else you do in life, the more you do it, the easier it gets for you. At the end of the day, you'll never know what's going to happen. Never know. You never know how your life is going to turn out. All you do know is what you're doing in the moment, what you decide to do right now. Don't waste it. Don't waste your life. Don't waste sitting at home, scrolling on social media. Find an interest. Do something fun. Do a puzzle. Go hiking. Enjoy the small moments. Talk to new people. Learn. Don't just waste your life away by watching TV every day or scrolling on social media every single day. Create something new. Give back. Do something. I've known people in my life who are very ambitious, who are very successful. And I know people in my life who are very lazy, who blame their situation on everyone else or a certain group or a certain thing. And they just waste their time away, not really being productive at all, always making excuses. There's different types of mindsets out there. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are. I know people have it easier than others, which is always going to be the case. By the end of the day, you get to decide what you want to do within that time. No matter if you feel like you have to do it or not, you get to decide at the end of the day. Imagine people who are locked up, who are in prison. That's like the scariest thing to me, not because I'm scared of prison, it's because I'm scared to have my time taken away. Like, that is something that I don't think I can really live with, and that's why I'm making sure I never go to prison at all, because time is the most valuable thing on the planet. If someone offered you $1 million, I'm sure you would take it. And I'm sure if someone offered you $1 million and said, tomorrow you're gonna not exist, you're out of here, buddy. You can take the $1 million now, but you're gone tomorrow. You're not gonna take the $1 million because you realize that time is so much more precious. Billionaires, if they were given a choice between, you can keep your fortune, but you gotta go, you're out of here tomorrow, or you could give up your fortune and live, the rest of your life. They're gonna go with, I'm giving it up, because they understand how valuable time is. So why do we waste so much time on nonsense, on toxic stuff? Yes, it's entertaining sometimes, but you gotta take it in doses. I know you wanna laugh, you wanna gossip, which is human nature, right? At the end of the day though, that can't be your life. That cannot be your identity. You have to let things go sometimes. And at a certain point, at a certain age, I feel like you just gotta grow up and look at yourself. Address your childhood traumas, address any problems you might have, so you can live your life in the present moment and live your life in a beautiful way without any judgment from yourself to yourself. Time is everywhere. Time is here. Time is there. If you are into movies, my favorite movie of all time, that's funny. Time is just in everything we do. But my favorite movie of all time is called Interstellar. And that movie is all about time. It helps you see time differently. It really changes your perspective after you watch that movie. So I just love Christopher Nolan movies, and Interstellar is my favorite of all time. So if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. I love things that change your perspective. That's why I'm here talking. Although I never script my stuff, I don't necessarily have like a specific things I want to address, just things that's on the top of my head when it comes to me. I try to share what I know and, what I have in my head at the moment. Okay, now for the drawing, I'm going to take my kneaded eraser and I'm just going to erase all the pencil marks on this paper. Let's see. Now I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to lightly hatch around the rim of this clock right here. At first, I thought this drawing was going to be super fast because it's not really much I felt like I had to do. But once I started putting in all these different reflections and working with the lighting and changing or transitioning through the darker shadows to the lighter highlights, I realized this was a bad idea. And I cannot tell you how many times I started a drawing and never finished it. And I didn't want that to be the case for this one, since I am recording it and I did start recording it from the beginning. So I'm finishing this. I don't care. I don't care if it gets dark outside or whatnot. I'm going to finish this. And another thing that's actually causing me to work on this for so long is the fact that I usually turn my paper when I draw. So I don't just stay in one position and draw. I like turn the paper, I move my body around, and I like work that way, and I work a lot faster that way. But since I am recording video, I thought to challenge myself and see how long it would take me to actually finish this drawing. And having that one person who believes in you can really change or motivate you to do something. And trust me, I know firsthand. There's times where I picked up a new hobby or a new skill, and I feel like it really had no support in it until that one person tells me, you know what? I believe in you. Like, I believe you can do this. I believe you're going to be great at it. Even if I haven't done it before, they just believe in me. And that's so important. So important. So I believe in you. I believe you can do anything. I believe you can intentionally use your time to better yourself. No one has you like you should have you. Just because someone else is doing something doesn't mean you have to do it. Just because someone is eating a certain way or living their life a certain way and you see it every single day doesn't mean you have to do it either. Make some time, spend time in nature, spend time by yourself, and just meditate and reflect on what you really want. What goals do you want to set? What transformations do you want to create for yourself? What do you want to create? That is probably the most important thing we can do as humans, to experience and create. Forget everybody else's opinion. It does not matter. I feel like older people, they're so cranky, or they just don't care what they say because they realize, it took them their whole lives to realize that it really doesn't matter. People's opinion does not matter. So I'm going to say what I want and I'm going to do what I want. And that's the mindset you should have now. Obviously, don't do anything that will actually harm other people, but do things that will uplift yourself. I appreciate you for watching. I'm just here to share my talent, to share my thought process, just to share myself out there with you all. And that's the end of episode 2. I'll see you guys soon.